Okay, guys, this is Star Wars Day is still alive and well, and I'm hoping to cap it off with Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Written and directed by George Lucas, starring Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, that's all I have, because they're the only actors I really remember from this movie. Very sad. But actually, not this movie really isn't sad either. This movie isn't sad the same way. It actually was surprisingly good. See, I was seriously wondering, how is episode 3 good? And I realized when I watched it, episode 3 just does it better because it starts off by throwing you straight into the action. It's just awesome to just see all the cool visual effects. Even though they do overuse it a lot, they just look fantastic, and they still look great even today, which is pretty cool. It actually holds up well today. The writing is actually better than the first one. Now, how I'm gonna start off, this is where a battle where it's kind of leading up to the Clone Wars. Well, not exactly. It's it's following the Clone Wars, but it's set before you. Okay, I gotta look this up. I think it's set. Yeah, it's set after the Clone Wars, but there's still kind of a battle going on between General Grievous and the Rebel and the Jedi Republic. And what's going on is that there's that Palpatine is starting to start his descent into the Sith. He starts his descent, becoming Emperor Palpatine, like the original trilogy, by the Sith Lord, the dark side. And actually, what helps is, he's starting to try and manipulate Anakin into joining the dark side, leading to the events of the original trilogy. I actually had to admit, this movie was actually good. This is the only real movie in the prequel trilogy that I actually admit was good. There are problems with it, though. I actually want to iron those out. Now, Jar Jar Binks is a very annoying character, and I hated his ass so much. I fucking hated him. But he only appears for a few scenes, and he only speaks once. And he says, "Excuse me, yeah, you act informal around the Senate. You're trying to act nice, but you kind of make yourself look like an idiot, and kind of a bit like a child or a moron." But that's not really anything, because he barely talks. He's not really in the movie. Thank God for that. Also, the visual effects are just so good. They look fantastic, and they really appeal to. They actually really capture the eye more than the first two. And while it is overused, I found a lot more appealing to it. Sorry, I'm fucking stiff as hell. The acting is a big improvement, and so is the dialogue. But that still is a problem, though. The dialogue is still bad, and some of the acting is a bit stiff. Hayden Christensen is still really bad as Anakin. The first two prequels got tons of Razzie nominations. Episode 3 only got one, and it was also its only win, Worst Supporting Actor for Hayden Christensen. Yep, that was kind of obvious, because he was pretty bad in this movie. But it was a little better than Episode 2, because he wasn't saying all that romantic, cheesy dialogue, but still some of the dialogue doesn't work well. There's a ton of great action and surprising emotion in this movie, almost like real emotion. It didn't feel very sentimental. Another problem with this movie I have is that there's a scene where Padme dies. It just it was so half-assed, saying she just lost the will to live. Really? She gave birth to 2 kids. How could you not? How's that not a reason to live? You could have said, when Anakin choked her, that maybe she couldn't hold it and her throat started closing up? Because maybe then it would have made more sense. Yeah, that's ridiculous. The dialogue is still very bad. The acting, some of it's a big improvement over the first one, but still, it could be a little stiff at times. But there are a lot of great action sequences. Some of the best lightsaber fights I've seen in this series, and while they're a lot flashy in terms of choreography, there still seems to be this emotional undercurrent that carries them. Also, it actually fits well with the story. There's some fantastic action sequences, good special effects, and it actually is pretty fun. It's the most entertaining of all the 3, because it starts off by throwing you in the action, just makes you all that excited, even through all the acting flaws, the dialogue, and shit. There are several cool fights in this movie. But also, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is Order 66, which is the elimination of all the Jedi. And I think this is really a point where John Williams' score truly stands out. Some of his stuff truly stands out, but I think it really stood out here, because it had that, when you have that choir in the background, it just truly feels epic, and it's also truly, it feels epic, you know, it's also really emotional. And it really impacted me in a way that really worked. Now, I mean, it was just so cool. There's some great fight sequences, like between like Obi-Wan and General Grievous, who wields 4 lightsabers. Also, he's not that great of a character, but the lightsaber battle is pretty fun. There's also a battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin. That is really just fun. It's not my is it my favorite of the trilogy? Not of the entire series? No. Favorite of the entire prequels? Yeah, I think so. The problem is that there's no real heavy emotional side to it. Well, there is, but the problem is the choreography kind of makes that emotion kind of there instead of actually really just very heavy in its usage, like truly part of what's going on. The manipulation of, like, Palpatine's manipulation of Anakin was actually handled very well. This movie is the only time it was good. Like, the story, political shit, you know, all that shit. But there's not a lot of it. There's actually a lot more on, you know, on the events building up to the original trilogy, such as Anakin becoming Darth Vader. You guys all should have known this. Some people may have told you. And as for all the guys, I have been doing spoilers in my reviews. I don't really, if you guys haven't seen Star Wars yet, I want you guys to do this with an open mind. I want you to truly understand why people like these movies. We all know the twists now. I even knew the twist in the first movie, into episode 5, before I even saw the movie. But I still loved it because I didn't care. I had an open mind about it. I didn't care if I knew anything. And I think that you guys should really do that, because these movies are something that really is special and have been a huge part of film history. George Lucas, while he did kind of almost ruin it completely with the prequels, he still gave us a series with such an incredible legacy and just tons of influence. He gave us great characters, great action, groundbreaking special effects, and tons of fun. And I think he capped it off so well with the prequel trilogy. The prequel could have ended up being bad, the entire trilogy. But this one's actually good. It actually ended things on such a good note. Seriously, that is some of the most surprising shit I've ever seen. It truly did impact me in a way. It felt like, while it did somehow not feel like Star Wars, it did feel like Star Wars also, because there's real emotion. I felt more for the characters than I ever did before. And seriously, even with a few problems with the acting and directing, I still believed in some of the characters, even when they weren't as well acted as Hayden Christensen. I still had belief in some of these things. And there also are some characters, you know, some of the characters I had who had bad lip syncing in episodes 1, episode 2, though I forgot to mention that in episode 2. Yeah, they don't really make a real appearance, and that's kind of satisfying. You don't want to see their bad lip syncing. But also, I don't really care. It managed to end everything so well. It was actually better than I thought it was. And for some reason, I came away truly satisfied. Truly. Not like, you know, okay, like mildly satisfied or just disappointed. Satisfied. Not 100% though. I'd probably give this movie like maybe a 4.5 out of 5, or maybe between like a 4 and a 4.5 out of 5, because there still are some problems that are impossible to ignore. But if this is a Star Wars, between us, if there's any movies in the prequels that I rewatch, it's episode 3. The most impressive visuals, the strong emotion, has actual emotion, has some of the best lightsaber battles I've ever seen in the entire series, and it truly does something great. I mean, it's great build-up, and while there is some cheesy moments, it still had some feelings of nostalgia. You know, it really did feel like Star Wars for me. More or less. Okay, guys, that's it. And also, I really want to celebrate Star Wars Day. It's just nice to know that even though the first Star Wars came out May 25th, 1977, it's just nice to know that that we have a day celebrating Star Wars. This series has been part of pop culture for so many years. It's been an influence. It's one of the greatest movies, greatest film sagas ever conceived. George Lucas created such an unbelievable phenomenon that would be going on, that would be growing for so many years and continues to grow, continues to be an influence. And I don't see it going away ever. Not anytime soon. Ever. And I mean that. I mean, come on, there's a Star Wars movie coming out in 2015. It's been almost 40 years since the first one came out. That is fucking awesome. Seriously, 2 more years. 40th anniversary. I should do a video on that. Everyone's doing a video on that. But yeah, guys, this is just fantastic. And I really was happy that I got to share my experience with Revenge of the Sith, which was a big surprise for me. And I hope you guys think the same whenever you start seeing these movies, because I know some people who haven't seen them. Anyways, guys, that's my review for episode 3. What did I think of the prequels overall? Yeah, not really good. Episodes 1 and 2 were very disappointing. Episodes 3 managed to be surprisingly good, managed to end the trilogy on a good note, and give us a great lead into episode 2. Episode 4, the original trilogy. And I'm really excited for what they do with the sequel trilogy. That's actually what it's called. It has episodes 7, 8, and 9. Episode 8 is being written and directed by Rian Johnson, who made Looper, which is a sci-fi movie he wrote and directed. I haven't seen it, though I want to. And the episode 9. Why did I say episode 10? Episode 9 is being written by Rian Johnson, I believe. Maybe he's doing like a story treatment. I don't know. I think he's writing it. But there isn't a director yet. There's also some spin-off movies, such as Star Wars anthology Rogue One, directed by Gareth Edwards, who did Godzilla and the movie Monsters, and it's being written by Chris Weitz, who recently wrote the remake for Cinderella, the live-action version, and also wrote and co-directed About a Boy, which I really like. It's a pretty funny movie, and I really hope there could be something good out of that. There's also another one in development. I think it's being written by Lawrence Kasdan, Simon Kinberg. Simon Kinberg wrote, X-Men Days of Future Past. Yeah, that was pretty good. Cool movie. I love Quicksilver in there. I did like him in Age of Ultron, but the Russian accent was pretty bad. Josh Trank, who directed Chronicle, which I thought was pretty good, was supposed to direct, but he left, which is sad, and I really wanted to see him do it. Okay, I know I distracted myself heavily from that, but I just like putting in additional information in. Guys, I'm really happy that it's almost been 4 years since Star Wars came out, and the impact it has on film is bigger than ever, and it's just nice to just watch these movies and, like the original trilogy, look back and see that even though they're old today and they may be a little dated in terms of the effects, it still is a blast to watch. And we have bad action movies, like, well, I don't know, I don't really watch a lot of bad action movies. I try to stay away from those because I don't want to insult myself, but this is quality entertainment, and I really recommend you guys watch this. You'll have such a time with Star Wars, and to be honest, you might be impacted by what these movies have done for filmmaking. Comment below. What did you think of the prequel trilogy? Do you think it's better than the original trilogy, or do you think it's subpar? Do you think it's as good? Comment below. Also subscribe to my channel, and happy Star Wars Day. Happy Star Wars Day. And tell you guys, I'm really excited for episode 7. I hope you guys are too. I hopefully will see you on opening day. I might not. I have no idea. See you guys later.